You know that feeling, don't you? It's not a loud feeling, not at first. It's a quiet one. It's the way a room seems to cool by a single imperceptible degree. The moment you step into it, it's the conversation that doesn't exactly stop when you arrive, but shifts. It becomes a performance. The laughter is a half beat, too quick. The smile's a touch too tight. The eyes that slide away from yours to find a safer place to land. A spot on the wall, the window, the phone in their hand, anything but you. It's the ghost life of being unseen, and it creates a silence that is louder than any noise you've ever heard. It's a silence that rings in your ears, a high-pitched hum of your own irrelevance. It's in the group photo you weren't tagged in. It's in the plan you heard about only after it was over, through the excited, overlapping stories of everyone who was there. It's in the way your contribution in a meeting is met with a polite nod, only for the same idea to be celebrated moments later when it falls from another's lips. It's a special kind of loneliness. It doesn't feel like an empty house. That kind of loneliness can be filled. This feels like being in a crowded, vibrant house, where you are a pane of glass. They look right through you to see each other. They move around you without ever feeling your presence. You are the atmosphere, necessary perhaps, but utterly unnoticed. And the question begins, a tiny sharp seed planted deep in the dark soil of your psyche. It's a question that needs no voice, because it echoes in the hollow of your chest, in the pit of your stomach. What is wrong with me? This is the raw material. This is the ache. This is the cold, hard floor we are sitting on together, you and I, in this quiet moment. Before we can build anything, we must first be honest about the foundation. And the foundation is this pain. This specific, exquisite, soul-scraping pain of feeling like a ghost in your own life. And in that space, in the quiet, fertile ground of that rejection, a whole world gets built inside of you. A hidden, intricate, labyrinthine city of emotion. You are its sole architect, its only resident, and its haunted caretaker. Let's walk through its streets, you and I. Let's name its districts. First, there is the district of confusion. This is where you live most of the time, especially at the beginning. It's a place of constant, low-grade static, a hum of why. You replay interactions like a film director studying dailies, looking for the moment you went wrong. Was it my tone? Was it that joke that landed flat? Was it the thing I wore? Did I talk too much? Not enough. You become an archaeologist of your own social failures, sifting through the dust of every conversation, looking for the bone fragment that will explain the extinction of your belonging. The mind, in its desperate need for order, would rather have a reason, any reason, even a self-critical one, than to live with the terrifying chaos of no reason at all. Then you cross the river into the Longing Quarter. This is the oldest part of the city, built when you were very young. Here, the architecture is pure, unvarnished need. It's a desperate, almost childlike wish for just a flicker of genuine, unforced attention. Not praise, not admiration, just seeing. To have someone look at you and truly see the person behind the eyes, and not look away in boredom or judgment. This longing is a physical ache. It's a hunger. You watch others with a kind of starving fascination, studying the easy way they touch each other's arms, the way their laughter erupts in unison, the simple taken-for-granted grace of their inclusion. You think, what does that feel like, to be so effortlessly a part of something? But the human heart can only ache for so long before it builds a defense. And so next to the Longing Quarter, you construct the industrial zone of quiet resentment. This is where the pain is processed into something harder, something that feels like strength. Here, the story changes. The narrative shifts from what is wrong with me to what is wrong with them. They become shallow. They are a clique, a hive mind, sheep who cannot appreciate your unique wavelength. You build a fortress of your own perceived superiority. Your isolation becomes a badge of honor, proof that you are too complex, too deep, too real for their trivial world. You tell yourself you are a lone wolf, a misunderstood genius, an exile from a kingdom of fools. It feels better than the ache. It feels like power, but it's a cold power, and it runs on a fuel that is slowly poisoning you. Because underneath this entire city, in the deep substrata, lies the true foundation, the cavern of self-doubt. This is the secret, terrified heart of it all. The resentment is a wall built to keep this cavern sealed. Because here in the dark, the oldest, most terrifying question echoes. What if they're right? What if they see something true that I'm trying to hide? What if this mark of Cain is real? What if I am at my core fundamentally unlovable, flawed in some essential way that cannot be fixed, only concealed? This is the whisper that gives the cold silence its power. This is the ghost that haunts the ghost. So you develop your customs, your rituals, your defense mechanism. You might become the aloof one, the person who seems not to need or want anyone. You master the art of the disinterested glance, the slightly bored expression, the body language that says, I was just leaving anyway. You preempt the rejection. You reject them first. Or you might become the eager to please jester. Your smile is a little too wide, your laughter a little too loud and a little too late. You become a mirror reflecting back what you think they want to see, polishing your personality until it's smooth and featureless, hoping that by having no sharp edges, you will be easier to hold. You become an expert in their hobbies, their opinions, their tastes, while your own gather dust in a forgotten room. All of it, every wall, every performance, every desperate strategy, is just a fortress. A beautiful, complicated, exhausting fortress, built around a single trembling heart that is asking, over and over and over again, the only question that truly matters: am I worthy of being here? The funny, tragic and ultimately liberating truth is this: it's rarely ever just about you. Human nature is a messy, magnificent, and often brutal tapestry. We are not isolated islands of selfhood. We are walking, talking ecosystems of past experiences, unconscious biases, and deep-seated psychological need. And one of the most powerful, least understood forces in this ecosystem is projection. Think of it this way: we are all walking projectors, not movie projectors, but psyche projectors. We are constantly casting the unresolved movies of our own inner world onto the blank screens of other people. Your quiet confidence might be a blinding light to someone who lives in the dim shadows of their own insecurity. They can't bear the glare, so they look away, or they try to dim your light. It's not about your light being bad. It's about their eyes being unaccustomed to. Sometimes you simply remind someone on a deep unconscious level of a person who hurt them in the past. A parent who was emotionally distant, a childhood bully who mocked them, a former lover who betrayed them. You have a similar tone of voice, a similar way of holding yourself, a similar glint in your eye, and without them ever realizing it, their brain, that ancient pattern-seeking machine, flags you as a threat. They react to the ghost they see in you, not to you. Their coldness, their dismissal, their subtle hostility, it's a preemptive strike against a wound that you had no part in creating. Then there is the simple, cold sociology of the groups, from office cliques to entire societies, often solidify their identity by having a defined outsider. It's a primitive, tribal mechanism. By having a them, the us, feels more cohesive, more safe, more you, by accident of timing or temperament, simply became the most convenient them. It's not personal, it's positional. You are the necessary exception that proves the rule of their belonging. Let's talk about attachment, the invisible blueprint for love that was drawn in your earliest year. If you learned that to be loved is to be engulfed, to lose yourself, you might now, as an adult, hold people at a distance, and that distance can be read as coldness, as arrogant. If you learned that love is unreliable, that it comes and goes unpredictably, you might become clingy, desperate for reassurance, the very neediness that can tragically push people away. Your defense mechanism, designed to protect you from an old hurt, becomes the very thing that creates the new hurt. And what about the trauma response? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. In the subtle, high-stakes social arena, these play out in microdose. Someone feels threatened by your presence, and they fight with subtle put-downs, or they flight by avoiding you, or they freeze you out, giving you the silent treatment, or they fawn, being overly nice to your face while gossiping behind your back. Their reaction to you is often a reflection of their own internal war. Their ego is also a player in this. The ego hates anything that challenges its self-concept. If someone's ego is invested in being the smartest, the kindest, the most interesting person in the room, your intelligence, your compassion, your interesting story is not a gift. It's a threat. It forces their ego to reconfigure to admit a new player, and the ego is a territorial beast. It would rather dismiss you than update its self-image. So you see, the hatred, the dismissal, the cold shoulder, it is so rarely a simple billboard with the words "you are bad" written on. It is almost always a complex, tangled web of their attachment wounds, their trauma responses, their ego defenses, and their tribal insecurities, looking for a landing place. And you, by a twist of fate, a quirk of personality, or simply by being in the wrong place at the wrong time, became that landing strip. You became the screen for their movie. The tragedy is that you started to believe you were the star of, and you have to laugh at the sheer ridiculous, absurd irony of it. Sometimes, don't you? I mean, you really do. If you don't, you'll go mad. The amount of mental real estate we willingly hand over to the decoding of a single ambiguous glance. We become Nobel Prize-winning detectives of disinterest, forensic analysts of a sigh. We will lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, conducting a full-scale symphony of anxiety, based on nothing more than the way someone said fine when we asked how they were. We are the novelists of our own social demise, writing epic, 3-volume tragedies in our minds. Volume 1, The Look of Disdain. Volume 2, The Whisper That Was Surely About Me. Volume 3, The Unraveling of a Soul. We cast ourselves as the tragic hero, the misunderstood martyr, while the other person, the unwitting antagonist, is probably at home, happily eating a sandwich and having forgotten the entire interaction 3 seconds after it happened. It's tragic, but it's also kind of hilarious. The ego, that brilliant melodramatic screenwriter, is so desperately committed to its own story, it cannot bear to be a background character in someone else's life. It would rather be the hated villain than the irrelevant extra. To be hated is to be acknowledged, to be ignored is to be annihilated. So we choose the drama, we feed the beast. There's a dark comedy in the rituals we perform, the way we carefully craft a text message, editing it 17 times, analyzing the punctuation. Is a period too aggressive? Is an exclamation point too desperate? Only to have the recipient reply with a solitary K, the universe's perfect comedic punchline to our anxiety-ridden setup. We contort ourselves into human pretzels to fit into boxes we weren't meant to fit into. We silence our opinions, dull our sparkle, and apologize for taking up space, all for the fleeting, lukewarm reward of not being actively rejected. It's like paying for a 5-star meal and being grateful to be allowed to eat the crumbs under the table. You have to see the humor in it. You have to, because laughter, especially at ourselves, is an act of reclaiming our power. It's the moment we step out of the movie and realize we've been sitting in an empty theater, watching a film we directed and starred in, for an audience of no one. It's the ultimate plot twist. The prison was never locked. We were just so captivated by our own performance that we never thought to try the door. But this recognition, this is where the real work begins. The transformation isn't about learning a new set of social tricks to get them to like you. That's just building a better, more sophisticated prison. The transformation is about forcing your brain to crave a harder, more profound and ultimately liberating truth. You have to shift the crave. Right now, your brain is addicted to the hit of external validation. It's a sugar rush. It feels good for a moment, but it crashes quickly, leaving you craving more, leaving you jittery and insecure. You're a validation junkie, and the world is an unreliable deal. The hard work, the profound psychological shift, is to rewire that craving, to make your brain crave the rich, complex, sustaining nutrition of internal sovereignty. It starts with a simple, brutal, and beautiful question. What if their rejection is not a verdict on my soul but a reflection of their own landscape? Let that question land. Don't just hear it, feel it. What if the coldness you feel has nothing to do with your temperature? What if the silence you hear is the sound of their own inner noise? This is not about letting them off the hook. It's about cutting the rope that ties your sense of self-worth to their unpredictable boat. And then, the next, even more powerful question. What if my freedom lies in accepting that I cannot control their map? You are not the cartographer of another person's perception. You cannot draw yourself into their world if they have decided you don't belong there. Your endless effort to be seen by them is like trying to force a key into a lock it was never meant to open. You will only break the key and scar the lock. This is the hard thing, to stop feeding the monster of their opinion, to consciously, deliberately, take all that exquisite mental energy you were spending on deciphering their every move, on rehearsing your every line, on polishing your armor, and you turn it inward. You redirect the beam of your attention from the outer theater to your own inner world. You ask, with the curiosity of a scientist and the compassion of a friend, what do I need to feel whole, right now in this moment, without a single word from them? What work, what action, what creation, lights me up from the inside? What truth feels authentic to me, even if it's a truth nobody else wants to hear? This is how you rewire the craving. You make the hard work of self-definition more compelling than the easy pain of seeking approval. You trade the exhausting drama of being misunderstood for the quiet, powerful satisfaction of understanding yourself. You start small. You choose the hard thing.
You choose to go for a walk alone, and instead of spending the whole time thinking about what they think of you, you notice the way the light filters through the leaves. You feel the air on your skin. You come back to your senses. You are re-inhabiting your body, this vessel that you have been using as a vehicle to seek approval from others. You choose to spend an evening with a book that challenges you, or a project that absorbs you, instead of refreshing a social media feed looking for crumbs of connection. In that absorption, you forget to be hungry for their validation. You are fed by your own focus. You begin to speak your mind in a gentle but firm way. You state a preference. Actually, I'd rather see this movie. I disagree. I think it's more complex than that. Each time you do this, you are sending a powerful signal to your own brain. My truth matters. My presence is a fact, not a request for permission. You become the architect of your own worth. You lay the bricks yourself. You don't wait for others to bring you the material. And as you build, something miraculous happens. The weather outside, their moods, their opinions, their approval or disapproval begins to matter less and less. You have built a structure with a reliable internal temperature. You are no longer at the mercy of every social breeze and storm. You are forcing your brain to crave the dopamine hit of your own integrity, the serotonin of your own self-respect, the oxytocin of a genuine non-transactional connection with your own soul. This is the hard thing. And your brain, which is plastic, which is designed to seek reward, will eventually learn. It will start to see the pursuit of external validation as what it is, a dead end, a sugar crash, and it will start to crave the deep, steady, renewable energy of inner alignment. You are teaching your brain to crave the mountain climb, not the cheap souvenir at the top. The climb is hard, it's grueling, your muscles burn, your lungs ache, but the view from every new vantage point is yours. The strength in your legs is yours, the air in your lungs is yours, and no one can ever take that away from you. So you let go, not of the hope for connection. The human heart is built for connection. It is its natural state. You let go of the need for it from a specific withholding source. You untangle your worth from the outcome of any particular relationship. You begin to see your own soul, not as a problem to be solved, but as a vast, wild and fascinating territory to be explored with kindness and curiosity. The silence that once felt like a judgment, a verdict of your irrelevance, becomes a spaciousness. It becomes the quiet room where your own thoughts can finally be heard. The loneliness transforms into a profound capacity for your own company. You are no longer a desperate host, trying to entertain a guest who never arrives. You become a whole person, sitting quietly in your own home, at peace, the door open to the world, but no longer desperate for someone to cross the threshold. And in that quiet, that hard-won, fiercely protected quiet, you have a realization. It dawns on you not as a shout, but as a whisper. The way the sun inevitably quietly fills a room at dawn. The person you were always trying to get them to see was, all along, through all the performances, the defenses, the longing, and the resentment. The entire exhausting project was about getting an external mirror to reflect back an image you could believe in. You were waiting for a permission slip from the world to be yourself. But the world is busy. It's distracted. Its mirrors are cracked and distorted. The only mirror that matters is the one you hold yourself. The only permission you need is your own. And in that quiet, hard-won understanding, something deep within you shifts. It's not a dramatic earthquake. It's more like the final settling stone in a path you've been building for a long, long time. The fortress around your heart doesn't crumble in a dramatic explosion. Its gates simply swing open, not for them, but for you. You are no longer the prisoner or the guard. You are the citizen of your own being. You walk out, not in anger, not in triumph, but in a quiet, steady freedom. You are free, not because they finally see you, but because you finally see yourself. And that is everything.